So I was watching. Shout out to Heartland's Media, but they played some clips from Cornell West, and I'm gonna show you why Cornell West is a fraud, and I'm gonna show you why, right? And you have to be careful about these people, right? Like they're extremely slick, right? Extremely slick. These people are slicker than a greasy pig, right? I'm gonna show you why.
Campaign similar to what I'm hearing you make now when you were backing other candidates, Bernie Sanders to be precise. But you did end up voting for Joe Biden because you said 4 more years of Donald Trump could be worse.
So number one, he voted for Joe Biden, right? What? And he encouraged black people to vote for Joe Biden because he said Donald Trump was worse. That's just number one. No, now let's break that down. Is Joe Biden worse than Donald Trump for black people? Let's just deal with a couple of points real quick. Now, Trump was against open borders. Is that a good policy for American descendants of slaves to be against? Should American descendants of slaves be against open borders? Yes, you should. Why? Why should you be against that? Well, one, most of the people from these Hispanic, Latin American countries, right, in their countries that they're coming from, they purged black people, right? They committed genocide against blacks and tried to purge the blacks out of their populations. That's the kind of people that you want to come here and live next to you. I mean, it's bad enough that you already living amongst, anti-black people. You got the anti-black whites in the country that you're already living in that tried to purge you and fuck you over, right? So why would you want open border policies bringing in 14,000 people a day of aggressive anti-black when you already live amongst a bunch of anti-black people, right? Does that make sense? To bring in people from known countries where they were anti-black and trying to purge the black populations over the past couple of 100 years and make your situation worse. Philando Castile comes to mind, etc., etc. Right? Nori Martinez, the secret tapes out in L.A. comes to mind. Right? So why would black people? So black people should, in that case, they shouldn't be against a Trump policy of closed border, of, shutting down, illegal immigration. Right? That shouldn't be something common sense wise that they're against. Number two, he said he voted, voted and therefore, encouraged black people to vote for Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden was a segregationist that has done shit for black people, but use policies to make things worse. Ever since you've been in the country, only thing they do is promote sellouts and coons, right? That's going to further their agenda to make it seem like they're doing something, right, for the masses of black people that they're not doing, right? Like they'll promote a black female Supreme Court judge who's married to a white man and has never done shit for black people and is self-serving and trying to get close to whiteness. See, probably self-hating, right? Or they'll go get an Obama, half immigrant from Kenya, right? Mother descends from white slave owners, never did shit for black people. His policies were horrible for blacks in America, right? And made things worse for you economically, etc. All outcomes, right? And then he'll promote somebody like that to you. That's what Joe Biden, the shit people like these neoliberals and these liberals like Joe Biden does, right? I mean, so for him to promote somebody like Joe Biden to black people was a horrible idea. There's no such thing as the lesser of two evils. There's only evil. And this problem not going to be solved with logic. Let's just be clear. This is not a problem that's going to be solved with logic. Just like you can't use logic when dating women, you can't use logic in trying to sort out what's about to happen. The solution for this is going to be totally illogical in the minds of the rank and file sheeple. Now back to Cornell West. So he promoted Joe Biden to black people and said he voted for Joe Biden. No black person in their right mind should be anywhere near Joe Biden. You see? That's the dangers of integration. You see? And definitely not propping up Joe Biden. So if you're going to deal, you said the lesser of two evils, shit, Trump probably would have been that, but there's no such thing. Just to be clear. And then so he promotes people like Joe Biden to black people and votes for them. This is Cornell West, right? And then he promotes people like Bernie Sanders and, votes and supports them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bernie Sanders is probably what you would probably consider a Zionist, right? White Jewish man. There's nothing about that black people should support. Who is against reparations or any type of programs for blacks in America, right? And obviously for open borders, right? To bring in hostile anti-black immigrants from south of the border and other places. How does that make sense for black people? I mean, I could point out other things, but I just want to point out some glaring, obvious points, right? Showing you that Cornell West is a dumpster fire at a certain level. You know what I mean? He's a dumpster fire. But let's continue.
I have a very profound respect for him, even as we disagree on a number of things. But I'm thoroughly convinced he was treated unjustly. I'm thoroughly convinced that the corporate wing of the Democratic Party will always use the progressive wing as a kind of window dressing. The progressive wing will never triumph. We almost triumphed, and then the neoliberals came together after the call by Obama to Amy and Pete and the others. And therefore, I'm thoroughly convinced that first, pushing back Trump, that's exactly what I tried to do, part of an anti-fascist coalition. But then I began to see you never, ever defeat fascism with a milquetoast neoliberalism that doesn't have vision and passion.
So Cornell West goes on to say that he's trying to defeat fascism, like by Trump's a fascist, and he's working to defeat fascism that is coming to America, right? This is what Cornell West is saying on CNN. Cornell West is a dumpster fire at a certain level, right? Never trust black and so-called intellectuals, right? Now, I'm going to show you the curveball, right? So he starts spewing this, he's working to defeat fascism that is coming to America. So Cornell West's statement and premise is that fascism is coming somewhere to America. Cornell West is a fascist, right? At a certain level, right? Now, because first we have to define fascism, just like you have to define certain things. Everything has a definition, has to be defined so that we understand what we're talking about. What is fascism? What is Nazism, right? Well, fascism is the amalgamation, by dictionary definition, amalgamation and combination of corporate business structures with the state government apparatus, right? That's fascism, right? It becomes Nazism when you add the white supremacist element to it. So now you have a fascist Nazi element, right? Form of government, basically. Now that's the definition, right? You can go look it up. I'm not making this up. That's the dictionary definition of fascism and Nazism. Cornell West says he's fighting to stop fascism from coming to America. Well, by definition, America has always been a fascist Nazi country, Cornell West. So either you're the dumbest college professor in the history of the universe, or you're a liar and a deceiver. Which one is it? Right? Take your pick. You're either the dumbest fucking college professor ever produced by the American educational system, or you're a deceiver and a liar and a snake in the grass. Which one is it? Even if it's somewhere in between, it's still not good, right? Because you're telling people something that's not true. You're selling something that's not true. You're selling people a dream. Like George Carlin said, it's the American dream. You had to be, why? Because you had to be asleep to believe any of this shit. You see? But anyway, I'll play the rest of this and then I'm going to leave it. I'm going to drop it.
Never, ever defeat fascism with a milquetoast neoliberalism that doesn't have vision and passion. The only way you defeat fascism that is coming to America, if we do not fight, is a strong vision, strong passion, and then I'm going, as I've said, to Trump country itself. I'm going to my white brothers and sisters and say, don't scapegoat the most vulnerable, confront the most powerful.
So we see that education is fundamental. You see, particularly now, Cornell West is a teacher and a college professor, but he's telling you that fascism is coming to America in the form of Donald Trump. That doesn't make any sense. Just based on the dictionary definition of fascism, Nazism, etc., you see. So Cornell West is a dumpster fire at a certain level. And he said, well, this is the best we got. If that's the best you got, God bad, I gotta break the bad news to you. You're fucked. You see. Even though Cornell West will never make it to the White House. You see. He'll never make it. But Joe Biden is definitely finished. It's over for him and Kamala Harris. So that's the only good thing. But, not to get off topic, it's important not to be misled. So this is why I say Cornel West is a dumpster fire. He you have to be careful of these people who they talking good, but then they go left. They start throwing you curveballs. You see what I'm saying? They talking a lot of good shit, but then they start throwing you curveballs. And then the whole thing goes off the rails. America is not, Donald Trump is not making America fascist. America was fascist long before Donald Trump came on the scene. There's never been, America is a fake democratic republic, right? Is a Nazi fascist stronghold, one of the original ones along with Ukraine, right? That is perpetrating a fraud, as they say in the hood, right? As some type of democratic republic. That's what America is. America is a Nazi fascist stronghold perpetrating the fraud of some type of democratic republic. You see? It's all an illusion. It's all fake. You see? It's a hybrid, a wicked hybrid creature. You see? That's all it is. Right? And soon as they say the emperor will have no clothes. But I'm going to drop it right there. That's all I got on that.